The film opens with our Zorel and her only daughter, Kara Zorel, competing in a running competition on a distant planet Krypton. Early on, Kara was in the lead, but Laura tricked her and took over. Kara successfully navigates the woodland and wins in the contest. On Krypton, the red sun suddenly materializes, and hundreds of meteors strike the planet's surface, scorching it. Alara asserts that Zorel had foreseen this, but the council declined to take appropriate action. She has been surreptitiously developing hypersleep escape pods with Zorel ever since. Later, she learns that the majority of the escape pods don't work, leaving just one working pod, to which she assigned Kara the responsibility of defending Kal-El. As soon as Kara departed, Krypton exploded, but the blast threw a boulder at her escape pod, and she had been dozing off until lately. Years later, Kara has made her way to Earth, where baby Kal-El, called Superman, has grown up to be a real superhero instead of just a baby. Kara is devastated by the death of her home and finds it difficult to adapt to life on Earth due to the inferior technology to that of Krypton. Later, she sees Solomon Grundy causing devastation in Metropolis and rushes there as Supergirl to stop him. Red laser cannon used by Grundy to take down Supergirl shortens after Supergirl is defeated by Grundy. When Batman and Superman show there, they dispose of him in a flash. After the battle, Batman and Superman have a conversation in which Batman warns Superman that Supergirl is becoming a problem since she is careless with the results of her combat, causing buildings to be destroyed and unable to fully manage her abilities. He worries that her carelessness combined with her developing talents would make her a menace to both bad guys and innocent people. Superman follows Kara as she flees in tears after overhearing their chat. After discovering a sophisticated weapon fueled by red kryptonite in Grundy's hands, Batman becomes concerned. He is certain that Grundy couldn't have survived on his own. Later that evening, unidentified assailants enter Stir Labs' heavily guarded facility. While they were able to kill the guards, Batman shows up just in time to stop them before they can complete their plan. He reports back to the Justice League, since he has no idea what they were chasing when they were detained, and the captured operatives all committed suicide. Later, Superman discovers Supergirl back in Smallville, whining about how Batman seemed determined to exterminate her from the Earth. Superman attempts to persuade her that Earth may be her new home despite the fact that he is aware of her difficulties adjusting to a new world and her new abilities. She describes how she feels unwelcome and like an outsider. When words fail, Superman sends Supergirl into the future, specifically to the Legion of Superheroes in the 31st century, using a time bubble. He adds that the technology that enables Superman to go to two fixed places in time was given to him by Saturn Girl, one of the Legion's founders. He characterizes the Legion as a team of heroes that came together to combat crime in response to Superman's inspiration. After he established the Justice League, they got in touch with him right away, and they have kept in touch on occasion ever since. He proposes her go through rigorous training to become a Legionnaire in the hopes that she would get greater mastery over her abilities. Mantle arrives just in time to greet Supergirl as she enters the Academy. He claimed to be from the planet Daxam when Supergirl assumed he was another Kryptonian survivor. He reveals why he chose to alter his name. He was so in love with Krypton. When Mantle spies a mysterious warehouse out of the corner of her eye, she offers to give Supergirl a tour of the location. Mantle prevents her from approaching too closely and explains that the Legion preserves the lethal weapons they have taken from criminals over the course of many centuries in the vault. Dawnstar unexpectedly shows up to greet Supergirl, who is delighted to have a new roommate with whom she can finally team up on training missions. Brainiac 5 runs into them as they make their way to the classrooms, and Supergirl confuses him for his predecessor Brainiac from 21st century Earth. According to Brainiac 5, he is the only 12-level thinker in the cosmos. Brainiac 5 uses kinetic reactive photonic energy to deploy his force shield as Supergirl rushes at him, making the blow harder and the shield more durable. Supergirl considered upsetting a lesson by shattering the Earth and hurling him into one of the structures. In a fit of rage, Brainiac strikes Supergirl and briefly ties her with a lethal electric shock. By using her heat vision to demolish his little red cubes, she escapes. Timberwolf, an instructor at the Academy and an official Legionnaire, breaks up their battle as they are charging at each other. The surviving Legionnaires in control of the Academy are then hauled to the Council Chamber with Supergirl and Brainiac 5. According to Shadowless, Brainiac 5 is a clone made by scientists on the planet Kalu after they acquired biological components from the original Brainiac cyborg. He is not Brainiac. Given that this was their first transgression at the Academy, Timberwolf became weary of their arguments and let them leave with a warning. Timberwolf had his doubts about Saturn Girl's decision to let Brainiac 5 enter the school until they got back to the dormitories. He says that each and every Brainiac clone has ever turned evil. To keep anyone from overhearing their chat, Shadowlass uses her skills to cloak the area. She draws their attention to the missing Legion, who cut off all communication after verifying that they are battling a terrorist threat on the planet Durla. Since then, they have experienced radio silence, and she is unable to locate them on a map. making it look as if they have vanished from the face of the planet. Later, Supergirl gets to know the other students in the school, including Arms, Fall-Off Boy, Bouncing Boy, Invisible Boy, Triplicate Girl, Phantom Girl, and Proddy, the class pet. Given that there is only one available Legion position, and everyone thinks Mantle will receive it, the class fears that they will be neglected throughout their time there. Later, when they are joined by Chemical King, they return to class, where Brainiac 5 and Supergirl are still at each other's throats and feuding. In order to become a Legionnaire, Chemical King emphasizes the need of mental preparation and challenges the students to solve the hyperdrive equation. After that, the course switches to physical training, where Supergirl assumes command and snatches the adversaries from Brainiac 5. They continue to argue over who has divergent ideas for the project even throughout the drone-making class. Supergirl feels horrible and can relate to Brainiac 5's sense of dislocation, since that was how she felt in the 21st century. Triplicate Girl notices Monel snuck out and talked to strangers as she is outdoors searching for their lost class pet Proddy. She is suddenly cornered and slain by mask-wearing attackers. When Supergirl observes Brainiac 5 slipping away and behaving suspiciously, she follows him. She is outside rehearsing her apologies to him. They subsequently find the corpse of Triplicate Girl, all bickering once again. Brainiac 5 is suddenly seized by Shadowlass while being questioned by Timberwolf and Chemical King. They reveal that they were unable to communicate with the rest of the Legion because he introduced a virus into their systems. When no one cast a vote for him to join the school, Chemical King adds that Brainiac 5 broke into the system. They believe he intended to raid the vault and take the weapons. Despite acknowledging breaking into the system, Brainiac 5 disputes, murdering Triplicate Girl. He explains that the Dark Circle was behind this, but they deny him and lock him up in the holding cells until the others come back. Supergirl chooses to acquire her information since she doesn't seem to be persuaded. Later, Supergirl stops into the training area to go through the Legion's archives for information on the Dark Circle. Later, she learns that it is a gang of extremists with an unidentified purpose who periodically manifest to cause mayhem and deliver weapons to well-known terrorist organizations. After learning that she has seen the Dark Circle in both the present and the future, Supergirl subsequently speaks with Brainiac 5 to get his side of the tale. He says that Oa's supernatural architects built a miracle machine that lets people control reality. Before it was in the League's control, it had been used repeatedly as a weapon of mass devastation. He hears his family discussing breaking into the vault to get the aforementioned machine for the Circle's leader, and he determines to get it before they do. Instead of leaving, Supergirl frees Brainiac 5 and helps him break into the vault to take the item before the members of the Dark Circle do. Later, Supergirl and Brainiac 5 are caught attempting to enter the vault undercover by Monel. He states that while he was returning to the dormitories, he overheard Timberwolf and the others telling the tale and felt compelled to provide a hand. They rapidly penetrate the laser grid security system of the vault using Brainiac's equipment, only to find another perplexing security code they must decipher. The security drones will attack and kill them if they don't crack the code in 30 seconds, according to Brainiac 5. Later, seeing that he needs more time to crack the code since it is always changing, he begs Monel and Supergirl to put off, but not to kill the drones because doing so would start a room purge. Monel exposes his real loyalties and stabs Supergirl with a Kryptonian knife that leaks liquid kryptonite into her bloodstream when they eventually crack the code and enter the relic chamber. The other Dark Circle members grab the Academy students and teachers and imprison them in the holding cells while Monel secures the miracle machine. Monel states that his goal is to change the current state of the world, in which freaks and misfits believe they are superheroes just because they possess abilities. The original Brainiac, who was thought to have died in the 21st century when a kryptonite bullet shattered his brain, turns out to be the head of the Dark Circle. Although Brainiac acknowledges that the bullet caused severe damage to his brain, he insists that there was still enough to repair the damage. He says they took his original body, or whatever was remained of it, from Stir Labs, and that he initially established the Dark Circle 1,000 years ago as a backup plan. As the sole entity capable of cracking the security code, he also discloses that Brainiac 5's overhearing of the discussion about breaking into the vault was not an accident, but rather part of a deliberate scheme to motivate him to do so. Upon closer examination, Brainiac revealed that he carefully selected the greatest features from each clone as he absorbed them to construct the ideal body. He had her taken care of thanks to Monel, since he was afraid that Supergirl was the only one powerful enough in this reality to stop him. Brainiac, who is enraged, uses blinding light to flee and hide while they reassemble. The liquid kryptonite in Supergirl's bloodstream is killing her, so Brainiac 5 utilizes his technology to save her. He intervenes to rescue her just in time. Phantom Girl takes them through the wall, just as members of the Dark Circle are ready to close in on them. Later, they learn that Invisible Boy, Phantom Girl, and Triplicate Girl were also able to escape arrest. Brainiac has a strategy, and in order for it to work, they would need to hold the other Academy members captive. Brainiac 5 uses Dawnstar's abilities to locate the rest of the Legion and issue an SOS while they deal with the threat until they can return. The other Academy members wait as Supergirl and Brainiac 5 trick Model into falling into a trap where they both prevent Brainiac from fully syncing with the Miracle Machine. It turns out that they were already too late since Brainiac's will has already begun to alter reality, causing all of his adversaries and anybody else he perceives as a danger to submit to him. The clones that Brainiac integrated into his body ultimately attempt to dominate one another and take over the body to the point where they rip Brainiac's body apart. This is because Model and Brainiac 5 deceive the other clones into believing that they are superior than Brainiac. When Supergirl sees her mother, she knows she can use this ability to bring back Krypton, even if Brainiac is dead. So she attempts to halt the Miracle Machine. Brainiac 5 argues with her that if she did, reality would keep crumbling. She stands to reason and chooses to change the machine into a new reality and set everything back to how it was, even though it breaks her heart since she is unable to save her mother and her world. The remaining Dark Circle members are eliminated by Academy members as Supergirl defeats Model. Since the Miracle Machine is no longer functioning, the remainder of the League returns after the combat has ended and the adversaries have been subdued, but still have nothing to do. Cosmic Boy votes to make them all Legionnaires since he is so impressed with how they handled the situation. In an effort to console Supergirl, Brainiac 5 pledges to assist with the development of the Miracle Machine in order to bring back Krypton and her mother. Impressed, Supergirl gives them both a passionate kiss. Supergirl is shown discussing what transpired with Superman via a time bubble in the post-credit sequences and introducing Brainiac as her lover. Superman interrupts them, but not before expressing his admiration for her. Batman questions why Superman hasn't asked her to come back to the 21st century, because they both don't know what's going on in the globe. They are positioned atop what seems to be a burned-out Dark Circle. The story ends with them both being struck by a flash of light, disappearing without a trace, and leaving what seems to be a Dark Circle sign engraved in fire on the ground where they were shot.